escalation clause. So essentially what that is that a buyer makes an offer and says, hey, my offer is going to be $1,000 or whatever amount above the next verifiable offer up to a cap. Right? Now, there's arguments on both sides of this as to whether or not it works. As a buyer, it could be a great tool to use, but as a seller, you got to decide whether or not this is a tool you want to use, because you could potentially be accepting a lower offer on an escalation clause, especially if you just tell the buyers to make their maximum offer. Okay, let's do this as the example, right? Buyer offers, 210 with an escalation clause up to 225. Okay, so their max offer is technically 225, right? But because they put in an escalation offer, they're starting off at 210. The next best offer, right, is 215, right? So the seller, I got two offers, great. We're open to escalation clauses. The escalation clause comes in. The winning offer is essentially 216, assuming they just take the highest offer, right? But if the seller said, no escalation clauses, just give me your best and final offer, that buyer probably would have gone to 225 because that was their max.
Yeah, that's true.
So is the escalation clause really in the best interest of that seller? Or is it really just a tool that benefits buyers, right? So maybe it is the best tool for your seller, but I think, some agents got onto this escalation clause like, hey, yeah, rah, 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 not realizing, hold on, let's look at it a couple different ways. This may not be the tool to always use. Maybe it is. And in some situations, yeah, that probably is the way to go. But in other situations, it may not be the way to go. The other thing with an escalation clause is, who's to say you can't counter? Everything is negotiable, right?
Yeah.
And now you've submitted your offer with the escalation clause with that max amount. I mean, who's to say that the seller can't just come back and say,
I want the 225. Yeah, that's true. Sure. You're showing your cards.
And the other question is, well, how do you verify what the second offer was? The buyer, right? Well, because how are they going to verify the information with you? Are they going to provide to you the confidential information that the other buyers provided to them? Because I don't know that they have the right to do that. So there's a gray area as to how you actually verify that second offer as a buyer, right? Because how do I prove that the seller didn't just make up another offer to up me up, right?
Or the agent knows a buyer that would be like, hey, just throw in an offer on this property at X amount. I mean, it's unethical, of course, but that happens. People are unethical at times, and they could have somebody submit an offer just to get the other offer to be a little higher.
Oh, yeah. No, I've thought about that.
Yeah.
Someone from your office writes an offer. Oh, we got to write an offer. There it is.
Yep.
How do you verify that? So, again, I think it's one of those things that it could work, also couldn't work. And I think what agents need to do is make sure that they're having that conversation about the pros and cons, and even having the seller talk to an attorney. I mean, again, how do you prove what the second best offer was without providing confidential information that you may not be allowed to give? And as the buyer of the winning buyer, how do you trust that whatever proof you're given is actual solid proof? Yeah.
I mean, my advice is just go in at your best offer for that property.
Exactly.
It really, I've used the escalation clause once, and that's when the market first started getting crazy. And when I first heard of the escalation clause, I used it one time, and that was it. I never used it again. I'm just like, you know what, with all this competition, go in at your best for this property and just leave it at that. It's like,
tell me you're serious.
Yeah.
Show them you're serious. This is it.
Yeah.
Oh, what I'm willing to pay. And then negotiate after the inspections like $50,000.
Oh God, stop.